You ever practice preaching?
I haven't, no.
Yeah.
You do, like in front of the mirror or something?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever done like a preach off where it's like you got to preach on this water bottle?
Yes, I've done that.
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
I've done that, yeah.
Last night with the boys, Winston was like, Dad, give me a subject.
No way.
And I was like, where's this going? Is this going where I think it's going? Like, who's modeled this for him? And he's like, and I'm like, there was some milk by the bed. I go, milk. And he's like, this milk. He starts preaching on milk.
No way.
And
That's
and what we
amazing.
discovered last night, my son is an angry preacher. He's intense by nature. So it's like all of his preaching scares me. All of a sudden, I'm like, I'm feeling such great condemnation. And the subject matter is oat milk.
That's
This is
incredible.
really good.
And so then, like, the boys get, like, Mav's so inspired. So he jumps out of bed and he's like, all right, give me a subject. And I can't remember what we gave him. So he's like, he's such an artist. He's just like floating around. Like nothing really like lands or makes sense. It's just rabbit trail.
Just
rabbit trail,
illustration,
rabbit,
illustration.
yeah, rabbit trail. It's so much so that we're like, all right, Mav's done.
Great job.
And then
Love
Clive gets in and he's going. And of course, his older brothers interrupt him, which is, provokes an entire meltdown.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
To which Winston's back on stage. So it's like we got this whole, like,
Classic.
I'm just like, this language, some of the mannerisms and movements are like exactly what they've seen
Right.
modeled.
Yep.
It's crazy how they're such a sponge. So then Julia gets up. She's like, I want to turn. I'm like, this has become a
So
thing.
good.
So the last thing I want to do is preach about water and milk or what,
Yeah.
what I
Blankets
stuffed
or- yeah.
animals. Yeah. So Julia gets up. She does really good. And so Winston, at the end,
Oh,
he's like, wow, Mom, that was really good. Like we can't give sincere compliments about content that's not real.
That's so funny.
Like if we did a preach off right now. We're gonna try with April right now. We're doing a preach
All right,
off.
I'm ready.
Okay, April, I want you to preach about Instagram going down yesterday for 2 hours and who's behind it.
All right. Oh, and who's behind it?
I want you to guess.
Guess.
I don't know.
You got to tie it in.
All right.
You know
all
there's
right.
an enemy.
Okay, yeah. That
I'm
doesn't
sorry,
feel
I'm
fair
sorry,
that
I'm
you
sorry, I'm sorry.
prompted me. All right, fine.
okay.
That's where I was going anyway.
Okay,
All
here
right,
we go.
ready?
Yes, I'm
Do I
ready.
get a 3, 2, 1?
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, go.
Now, I know a lot of you, and myself included, I'm not exempt here. We all spend a lot of time scrolling. It's become part of our daily regimen,
good.
part of our mental habits.
That's me.
Sometimes you find after you complete a task, when you get home, sometimes all you do, you drop your stuff, you go home, you open up your app, and you scroll whatever it is for you, Instagram, TikTok. For some of you, that could be your morning routine. And some of you may have found that yesterday morning, your routine was interrupted.
Oh, your routine was interrupted.
Horrible.
And that really threw me off. And when your routine is interrupted, a lot of times those thoughts can come flooding in. What happened? Why is this happening to me? I don't know what to do. This is the time. You may think that everything is thrown off for you. This is the time for you to look up, refocus. When your focus has been taken away, it's not because something is necessarily wrong. Maybe God just wants you to refocus your eyes on Him.
Hey!
Wow.
I didn't tie in the other part. Of
But who was it?
Who
though?
was?
No. Don't. Yeah. When it's that good,
We'll just leave it there.
leave some of the notes in the notebook. That was the Spirit leading you right there.
Amen.
I mean, come on.
I was leaned in.
That was a whole word.
Word and a half.
Leadership lean in. Let's go. Oh, welcome back, everybody, to another episode 148. 148 today. Episode 148 of Leadership Lean In. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to jump into some great content in just a moment. But do me a favor, hit the subscribe button right there on YouTube. Like it, subscribe it, comment. Leave a comment. Let us know where you are leaning in from. Let us know what you think about the episode. Any thoughts, comments, or questions. We're going to start having a part of our pod. We'll answer some questions, and we're just grateful to be on the journey wherever you're streaming in from, Apple, Spotify, whatever it is. thank you so much to everybody that listens and shares. To be honest, I feel like every day that I go on social media, people are sharing Leadership Lean In.
Yep.
And it means so much to me. We are pumped because we have, in just 2 episodes, we got some merch coming out.
We do.
Pretty crazy.
I'm a Leaner merch. It's headed your way. And announcing for the first time ever.
Literally.
This is a big deal. I woke up to a text from, my agent texts me this morning. Such bizarre language. My agent, literary agent who I've been with for over 10 years, the great Whitney. Whitney Gossett texted me this morning. It is live, and that is my newest book is right here.
Whoa.
And it is called, I Bet You Think This Book Is About You. Avoiding the pitfalls of pride and gaining the rewards of humility. It's live, people.
You can't not sing the title.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to sing a lot.
That's great.
we-
Is it a
release it.
reference to something?
Oh,
Are you serious?
Okay, let's just. You guys know how I sing. You're so vain. I bet you think this book is about you, don't you?
This is Taylor.
You're so vain. Stop.
This is
That's
really
embarrassing. That
embarrassing.
was a low
That's
moment for
so
the history of
embarrassing.
Leadership Lean In. That was April was a highlight of the history. She preached her tail off in the moment. It's called improv skills, and you
That's
just
I had a Celsius this morning.
desecrated the entire. That was so terrible.
it's okay.
I bet you think this book is about you. It's out. It's at Target. It's on Amazon. It's everywhere books are sold. I want to encourage you, hit the link, get you a pre-order, buy a bundle, get your cousin one, your coworker, maybe your boss. Get everybody you know a copy of this book. It's coming out later this year, but I'm so excited. This is book number 5 that's published. It's, I have a self-published one that sits in my garage. We're not going to talk about that.
I want to read it.
Oh, I'll give you a copy. There's tons.
Great.
There's a plethora of them that I paid for out of my own pocket. But this one, I bet you think this book is about you. I think it's the best one yet. I'm so excited. I really enjoyed studying pride versus humility, and it's just an everyday struggle. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Pride is
Right.
that thing you never graduate from or achieve your medal of, oh, you don't struggle with pride anymore. Pride is a constant, ongoing battle. And so I hope this book encourages you. Grab a copy.
Okay, we're here to talk about our ads and our sponsors here at Leadership Lean In, and we love Overflow. If you are new to the podcast, Overflow is one of our longtime sponsors, and they're an incredible organization that allows customers and clients to give more creative gifts to your organization. That's stock, that's giving out of trust, or even giving through a will. There are so many more ways than you can give. Crypto, and this will open up and so much more generosity to come towards your organization. We, as an organization, we use Overflow. Nate's personally given through Overflow.
That's right.
One day I will give through Overflow.
Can you name 3 crypto currencies?
Yeah, of course. Bitcoin,
1.
Ethereum,
Whoa.
Doge.
And with Overflow, you can give using any of those coins, which is really cool.
That is cool. How do we get involved with Overflow?
Okay, head over to overflow.co/LLI. You can set up a demo for your organization. You can get a hold of their team. I'm just going to say this. Shout out to Vance. Shout out to Bethany. Shout out to Eric. Their team is outstanding. What I love about Overflow is, besides all the ways they're innovating, which is just outrageous, but they are so sharp, so fast. If your organization has a specific need, there's a good chance that Overflow can move and pivot in such a way that they can
really great.
take care of your stuff. And so head over to overflow.co/LLI to book a demo right now.
It used to be called ZLC, but get ready. Zoe College. We are so excited. We've got an interest meeting coming up this next Tuesday right here in Los Angeles, and we would love to have you join us for Zoe College. It's our college from our church, and it's a hands-on ministry experience. Also, you can get a degree through Southeastern University. I'm actually going to have lunch with President Ken Ingleton.
Yes.
Wow.
The
Yes.
president of Southeastern. Cannot wait to have lunch with him today. It's just an unbelievable university, and we think that you're going to have an unbelievable experience here in LA. Nate Dogg, tell us a little bit more about Zoe College.
Yeah, we're really excited for Zoe College. You can head over to zoechurch.org/Zoe College. Find out all the information you need to know. You can RSVP for our interest meeting. And if you can't make it to Los Angeles, it's okay. It's going to be on Zoom.
Yep.
So you can join us from anywhere that you are around the world or around the country. This is really cool. We're seeing interest from people literally from Pennsylvania to Texas to Florida, all these people with interest. And, you said it used to be called Zoe Leadership College.
Yes.
And it's a massive brand change.
Yeah, it's a big change. You were a ZLC student.
I was a ZLC student.
We dropped the L because the L represented leader, but also looser.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. No, I didn't.
I'm like, well,
On the Leadership
whoa,
Lead In podcast.
I'm like, I guess I'm not a leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
We have had people come from Pennsylvania in the past, and from the Bay Area in the past, and from Nevada in the past, and from Indiana in the past, and
Alabama,
from Florida in the past,
Texas.
and from
Ohio,
Texas, and from Ohio, and from
Washington,
Oregon.
all over the nation
Yeah.
is
Yes.
my point.
Yes.
And New York.
Yep.
Wow.
And we're doing something we've never done before. We're opening up Zoe College online.
Let's go.
And so if you want to join us anywhere in the country, you can.
Let's
join
go.
us.
Let's go.
Zoe College or zoechurch.org/Zoe College.
We'll see you there. Okay, so we've got some questions. Thank you. Again, everybody that left a comment, thank you for leaving comments and some questions. Let's take some questions right now. April, hit us with the questions.
Absolutely. So first off, we've got people telling us where they're tuning in from, which we've got Johnson City, Tennessee.
Let's go.
We've got people coming from staff members from Elevation Church.
Let's go.
Alabama. We've got
These are three of my favorite places in the entire nation, by the way.
Belize City, Kentucky.
Belize. Let's go.
Nigeria.
Kentucky. Never been to Kentucky. I really want to go, by the way.
Wow, that's great. Okay, so here's a question
Okay.
from a leaner in Belize City.
Okay.
What is something that motivates you to be a leader if you feel the call, but you're struggling to step up to the plate?
Ooh. What motivates you? You're feeling a little bit of a struggle, which is me when I go to the gym. And the question is, what motivates me to step up and be that leader?
Mm-hmm.
Someone texted me yesterday, pray for my desire to come back to church.
Wow, that's
And
amazing.
And I text him back, this guy's a pretty driven guy. I go, do you feel a desire to eat right? Do you feel a desire to go to the gym? Do you feel a desire to save the money because he's a good financial guy? I go, nope, you do all that because you know it's right.
Mm.
I go, so a lot of times it's not a feeling. In fact, I think you got to throw your feelings out the door. Sometimes I think the biggest prohibitor to walk in what you're supposed to is your feelings. I got to throw my feelings out the window, and I got to just stick to my convictions. I got a conviction about this. I know it's the right thing to do, and it's always the right time to do the right thing. So I would just say it's not a motivation, it's a decision. And as I decide, then I keep going forward. And then pretty soon, the more I walk in it, the more motivated. The momentum comes, motivation comes the more you walk in something.
It's great.
So the more you eat healthy, the more you're like, I'm motivated to keep going.
Yep.
So the same thing with leadership. The more I lead and I step into this, the more I'm like, I'm motivated to be good at this. So that's what I would say to that.
I love it. That's such a great one. This is another one that is going to fit really well into what we're talking about in our episode today.
Okay.
Jason is asking, what are some team building strategies that have not worked for you in your experience?
Ooh, this is a good one.
That's a good question.
That's a really good one. Team building that has not worked. I will tell you, years ago, I read an article by a guy named Blaine Bartell. Shout out to 180 Youth Ministries in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And he had this little booklet that he put out, and he said, never have a meeting that is bigger than what a large-sized pizza can feed. And what he was saying is anytime you want to accomplish real tasks and things, don't have too many people in the room. I have found that if you have too many chefs in the kitchen, too many cooks in the kitchen, too many opinions, that's where conflict can arise. So I have learned in team building to get the right people around the table, and it's not about quantity, it's about quality. The more quality leaders I have speaking into it Right? I used to, when I was first started, it's like, we got to get 35 people around, and it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like we're going to change the world, and there's 35 people in here. All right, guys. And then I always found that the guy that I don't want talking is the person that's talking every week. And it's like, oh, dang, he's talking again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So to me, it's quality over quantity. That is such a good question. That has actually hurt me in team building before.
That's amazing. Okay, lastly, this is not a question, but this is such a cool comment.
Okay.
This is Joel, and he says, this episode reminded me of one of the most embarrassing moments of my life, and it was with Pastor Chad.
Oh, gosh.
Can we give context real quick?
Yeah.
You had mentioned that you have a real conviction with swearing.
Yes.
In the type of music you listen to.
Yes.
So.
And he says, I was a youth pastor and had the opportunity to host him at our church. I picked him up for dinner and thought I would be so cool and put on some music I thought he would like. I didn't put on the clean version, and 2 minutes into the drive, he asked someone else in the car to pass him the phone, and he changed the music. I died a little on the inside, but that moment changed me forever. Pastor Chad is full of integrity, and hosting him changed my life significantly for the better. Thank you, Pastor Chad. I'm a leaner.
Stop. What's his name?
Joel Vardy.
Joel Vardy. Joel Vardy from Canada? Yeah.
Must be.
Joel Vardy, we love you. Thank you for sharing that story, and thank you for driving all those years later. If I remember correct, I remember you, bro. And shout out to Joel. Thank you for that story. I just can't stomach. Someone the other day was asking me, have you listened to the new Kanye album? I'm like, I can't find the edited version, so no. I don't know. It's like what you get saved out of. Honestly, this might sound funny to some people, but like, I was just so into rap music as a teenager, and like, especially just like a lot of cussing. And when I really like started to follow God, I just felt a big conviction. Like, I don't want to be a cusser. Some of my friends make fun of me, like, you don't cuss that much. And I take it as a compliment.
Yeah.
Like, I really want to control my tongue.
Yeah.
Well, now Joel is too.
Yeah, that's a cool story. Yeah. Do you listen to swear words? Where's your conviction? You can't? What about you?
I feel like the music I listen to doesn't really have a lot of
Yeah. I don't think Nora Jones swears a lot.
I love Nora
Sarah
Jones.
McLachlan hasn't dropped an F-bomb in one of her songs in
Regina
so long.
Spektor.
I love Regina Spektor.
Yeah, of course you do. I don't think Kali Colette.
Also, K-pop, I can't tell if they're swearing, so.
Oh my God.
Yeah, does that?
This is not okay. This is not. Like, yeah, you would not. There would, in the indie category, if it's, maybe Alanis Morissette drops a little
she
word.
would for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, rain, damn, mad at my mom. Yeah.
That's the smart guitar.
Yeah.
We love those girls.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. All right, let's jump in. Okay, today we are talking about if you build them, it will come.
Really good.
And I just like this thought. I like this idea about leadership, that leadership is serving. Leadership is building. It's about others, not about you. A servant leader to me is the greatest leader. It's why I think Jesus is, if we're talking about leadership, which I love this thought, this idea about leadership, because to me it's more discipleship than it is leadership, if we're being honest. But I like this idea that it's all about building up others. One of my favorite thoughts here is freely I have received, freely give.
That's right.
That it's not about me or what I have or my possessions, my platform, my power. I think true power is giving away power, empowering. But I believe that if you build others, the rest will take care of itself.
That's great.
I can't control results. We've talked about this many times, but I can control my effort. And where's my effort going towards? It's going towards building up people, championing them, encouraging them, believing in them. I think you got to have a big soul. I think it requires a big spirit. In order for you to add value, I think that starts with value. In order for you to give strength, you have to have strength.
That's good.
If I'm going to give someone and give them just a boost or a vote of confidence, that means I got to be confident. And so it's so funny. I was on a call last night, and a prophet texted me last night at 6:30.
Whoa.
Hey, I need to speak to you this week.
Wow.
And if a prophet tells you that they need to talk to you, you shaking your boots.
Yeah.
And then you reply, yes. And so the great Jim LaFoon said, "Hey, I got your phone number. Can I speak to you?" And I just immediately replied, "I'm free right now."
Yeah, how about right now?
Yeah, how about right now? So he jumped on the call and he was talking about we talked for like 15, 20 minutes, and then he got to what he wanted to say, and it was not about me. It was about he was calling me to get him in contact with another pastor, and I was like low key disappointed, like dang,
Looking for
I
a
was
word,
hoping
huh?
I'd get a building. I was like,
Yeah.
I was looking.
This is the one. This is the word.
Yeah, I was looking to get a blessing. And so, but he was bragging about one of his sons. He was talking about his son and how good his son is at building up people.
Wow.
He used the language, "My son is a great disciple maker."
It's amazing.
And I just like that language. I like that idea of you don't find great leaders, you build great leaders.
Really good.
That they don't just show up at your doorstep. You know, wouldn't that be nice? Like all these meal preps where it's just like you just order the meal prep and they just come
Right.
with your culture, with your standards, with your values, with your,
Oh my
you know,
gosh.
with excellence, with faith. No, you build that.
Yeah.
And we see this modeled taking a bunch of tax collectors and fishermen, and then all of a sudden they go change the world. Well, how could you do that? Well, put them in your back pocket for 3 years through osmosis and proximity. And being with him, they became like him.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I
That's
always think that if you want to build great leaders, you got to put in the time and the investment. And so just a few simple thoughts today as we dive into this subject. I think this is number one, very important. Energy flows where focus goes.
Yeah.
So whatever I'm focusing on, that's where my energy goes. Energy goes where focus goes. So if I'm focused on task, all my energy is on task. But if I'm focused also on people, I will have time and space and proximity for people. And I think this is important because a lot of leaders are, I think they get the pendulum swings and they get into like Lone Ranger. And it's pretty soon it's just they're working, they're doing everything because you are so talented and you are so good and you are so driven. Sometimes it's hard to tolerate those around you that aren't. And I think you've got to really stop for a moment and recognize, where's all my energy going? If all my energy is going just into me and my world and what I want to accomplish, that means I'm not improving anybody. I know that the more I spend time with others, the more I'm helping them. I'm helping them get a better perspective. I'm helping them build a bigger paradigm. I'm helping them and model for them what passion looks like. I'm showing them how to live a purpose-driven life. All of that happens by being a leader maker. And we can't just expect leaders just to show up and just like, oh, there they are. No, it takes time. It takes energy. And I like this idea that I control where my focus goes. That's why I think that you got to carve out parts and pockets of your day. When is the time for me to focus on task and responsibility and quietness and study and to-do lists? And when is my people time? And you can't just be focused time towards my to-do list all day. I've got to make some margin to improve and to better other people.
Yeah.
And I find that people that just work, all they do is work.
Yeah.
And I find that people that are with people, all they do is add value to them.
It's great.
And help them and serve them and make their life better and get them into a better spot. I always think this, that the solution to most people's problems is a person. Whenever God got ready to help somebody get out of a rut, he sent a man. He sent a leader to help pull them out of, what did he do with the Israelites when they're in bondage? He raised up a Moses.
Yeah.
And he sent a man to help you get. Every time someone's stuck in life, they need somebody to come and help them pull out. And so if I only focus on, I got budget and I got sermon prep and I got this and I got that and I got to do leadership leaning and I got to do a preach off and I got to help April. She's trying to figure out Star Wars characters. If I only,
That's good.
we got to help people.
Totally.
Do you struggle with trying to make time and room for people?
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, I think it is a weird tension because, in work hours, I feel like I'm in task mode.
Totally.
Out of work hours, I'm in people mode.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it's hard for a leader to differentiate, people are your life.
That's it.
They're not a job.
That's
And
it.
so don't clock them into your job hours.
Yep.
make margin other places in your life before work, after work, have them over for dinner.
Yeah.
That type of leadership is caught, like you said, just by osmosis, putting them in your back pocket, and if you're trying to fit those relationships, and of course you'll have that naturally in your office or wherever you are, but if you try to fit those within your work hours, you're probably not going to get a lot of your tasks done.
Right.
Or you're probably not going to be able to raise people up.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be so, one-minded. But yeah, in my experience, I've always gotten frustrated when I've tried to fit things within. Okay, these are office hours. I gotta go out to lunch, and I also have to do my tasks, and I feel overwhelmed.
Right.
But as soon as I started looking at people's people instead of just like, people to do more tasks, all of a sudden that came a possibility.
Yeah, I love that. I love Nate. One time, we were talking about, serving in ZST because it's church and volunteers, and that becomes our volunteers and people who we serve with are often our friends, and the people who we do live life with. Often there's a lot of crossover, and I found that communicating to people what your focus is really important, and making sure they know, hey, I'm so happy that you're here and you're serving, but I want you to know what we're focused on, what we're trying to accomplish is we're making connections with people, providing opportunities for people to connect with Jesus. But my priority here is not to get a social post up. My priority is you and making sure that you're serving and fulfilling a purpose that God has given you.
Yeah.
And we had this talk one time, and you're like, if we don't get a single social post up throughout the whole day, but people were serving and had a great experience and felt connected to God, like that's what we're really here for. Of course, we also do want to get social posts. We really do.
Right.
But communicating, making sure that people in your life know what your focus is, I think makes a big difference.
Yeah. And I think that's why I like that word focus. Your energy is going to flow where your focus goes. So if I'm only focused on, I find that, I heard someone say one time, don't give people the most important part of your day. So you gotta really determine what's the most important part of your day. To me, the most important part of my day is early in the morning, and then when my kids are going to bed late at night. Those are the two most important parts of my day. I don't give to people, usually because I want to put my kids to bed and I want to connect with them. And early in the morning, I want to spend time with God, and I want to study, and I want to get my life in order, my finances in order, my life in order, my soul in order, so I can have margin during my day to focus on people and other things.
It's really good.
And I think that, I like to use the word connection. So I think that goes with number 2 for me. Partnership starts with relationship. So all of my partnerships start with relationship. And so when it comes to leading, if you build them, it will take care of itself. So many people are focused on trying to scale and build this big thing. But the big thing is only able to be sustainable and built on great people.
That's right.
Great leaders. So if you build them, you focus on them, you have great partnership. I think if there's anything that hurts leaders is only being task-oriented and not relationship-oriented.
That's right.
The best people, I think, find that balance. And we know when it's out of balance. Oh, I'm spending too much time, by myself, too much time just, in my cave, in my dungeon, hiding away, doing my thing. I always think it's very selfish. And what's driving that? Hurt, offense, resentment, bitterness. Most people, once they get burned once, they never let people back in.
Yep.
And I think in the people business, that's why it requires so much EQ, emotional intelligence. That's why it requires so much forgiveness. It requires that big spirit to be able to go like, no. Even if they go down I heard someone say one time, like, what if I raise up all these leaders and they leave? I think the better question is, what if you don't raise up all these leaders and they stay?
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about that.
So good.
I'd rather, and if they leave, at least you've got your fruit and imprint littered all over the place.
Yeah.
They do this in sports all the time where they're like, Bill Belichick's coaching tree, and from him, all the head coaches that are in the NFL.
Wow.
Bill Walsh, all the head your fruit will speak. Your fruit will tell.
Totally.
And so to me, it's about that big generosity that big spirit, that man, someone took a risk on me. Someone brought me into their house. Someone brought me into their world. Someone gave me a go. Someone gave me a chance. And I'm only here because of the bigness that was in others.
Yeah.
I'm only here because they took a risk on me when I was a knucklehead.
Yep.
When I was a complete idiot, somebody gave me a mic and goes, I think there's a gift on your life. How could I not do that with others?
So good.
I left them. I'm not with them today.
Right.
Does that make sense? So I think that all of your partnership starts with relationship. How can people partner with you if you're not willing to have relationship with them? I think this is a big topic. We got to pause sometimes because people want everything to be clean and neat and tidy. And when it comes to people, it's messy.
Yeah.
Community is messy.
That's right.
Community has all kinds of offense, struggle, problems, issues. And if there isn't that cohesive sense of communication, forgiveness, flow, I find that a lot of people go, you know what? Forget people. I'm going to go do my task. I'm going to keep charging. I'm going to keep doing my thing. And I think it's a real thing. We got to put a flashlight and go, no. This is not the right way. Jesus doesn't look at Judas and goes, that's it, I'm out.
Yep.
You want to betray me? Oh, really, son? I don't know. I got into that. Key and Peele
I
brand
like
me, son. Yo, brand me, son. It's one of my favorite ones.
They're
One of my
so
favorite
good.
ones. One of my favorite ones. You just don't see that.
Yeah.
You don't feel that spirit. Really, Peter? Oh, you out here on the boat after 3 years? I don't know what voice that is.
keeps going.
It feels so good. Really, bro? You back in your old job? Like, I just think that where there are no oxen, the trough is clean.
Yeah.
If you don't have a lot of people, you don't have a lot of problems. Part of being a leader, especially working with young leaders, working with new leaders, I don't care the age, it's having this grace. I like to look at it is how much margin do I give others for error? Because I require so much margin for error. How could I not give others margin for error?
Yeah.
Right.
I know how many times I've looked and gone, man, I had the wrong perspective about me or them or the situation. And man, I got to have a better perspective. All of your partnership starts with relationships. So how are the quality of your relationships? This is the hard part of leadership, in my opinion. It's not stewardship or leading. It's people.
Yeah, I have a question for you. What do you regret most in your leadership? The results that you failed or relationships that you messed up?
Relationships I messed up, 100%.
It's like they still haunt me.
Yeah, of course. And, we could make an argument for every one of them. That was them. They did that.
Yeah.
But maturity is going like, what could I have done better?
Totally.
Could I have handled this differently? Is there something I could have? The haunt is the great word.
Yeah.
The only thing that it will not be a conference. It will not be a fill in the blank for whatever you're leading. It's going like, did I mismanage that partnership? That was my partner. I have a friend that he built a great business with his partner. And they sold it for X amount of dollars, which is a lot. And they don't speak anymore. They're not on speaking terms.
Wow.
They made an
Whoa.
exuberant amount of money. Like, why? Wow. They don't speak. And so you go like, man, you got all this money together and now there's no partnership. I to the best of my ability, I think that's what I'm saying here. If you build it, the results will take care of itself. And it's my privilege. It's like, to me, like, I think that God resurrects things. It's my responsibility to steward things. So I got to steward relationships. I got to steward people. This is the tough part of life and leadership. Here's the last one. Just 3 things today. Culture is our value. So culture is how we act, interact, and respond. Culture is how you act, interact, and respond. So in the culture that you're building, how do you act, interact, and how do you respond? That says every culture is not what you put on the wall. Culture is not what you say on your website. Culture is not what you teach in a handbook. Culture is how you act, how you interact with others, and how you respond to difficult situations. So how do you act? What is your behavior? Your actions speak louder than your words. Your behavior is everything. So how do you act? How do you interact? What is your interaction with others? Is your interaction positive? I always think leadership is about looking at people's competence, looking at people's character, looking at people's chemistry, looking at people's charisma, looking at people's capacity. Okay, so they got a high capacity, they're very competent, but if they don't add chemistry, we've got a big issue on our hand because this whole thing flows off relationship. Our partnerships start with relationships. And so if I don't have somebody that adds good chemistry, that could really hurt us. That could hurt the unity of our program and the unity and the momentum that we're trying to build. So I got to pay attention to that because our culture, we act right, we interact right, and we respond right.
That's great.
And you show me somebody that's like, I'm above that. Have fun. Call me later.
Yeah.
Because there's not going to be a lot of people around. Because people, at the end of the day, it's the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. If you want to be treated with respect, you got to give other people respect.
That's right.
So many people want loyalty. If I want people to be loyal to me, I got to be loyal to them.
That's right.
And so how do you act? You got to ask yourself, in our culture, are we behaving right? I always tell my kids the same thing. They finish my sentence. Remember, if you behave good, what is life? Life is good. Say it again, son. If you behave good, what is life? Life is good. Yeah, because you behave. This is David, right? David behaved better than Saul, and all of Israel goes, that's our guy.
Yep.
All off of looks, money, wardrobe, behavior.
It's great.
So your behavior matters.
Yep.
If you behave, act right. In our culture, we got to behave right and we got to interact right. What's our interaction? How are your texts? How are your communications? What's the frequency? You got to look at interactions, positive interactions. That's why they say for every one negative interactions, you've got to replace that with 8 positive interactions.
Wow.
So you've got to focus on your interactions. Are they fluid? Are they good? Are they positive? What's that chemistry like? And then how do you respond? You're going to have a problem today and you're probably going to have a problem tomorrow. And you wake up the next day and you're going to have another problem. How do you respond to problems? How do you respond to people? How do you respond to issues? If I'm explosive and I'm short-tempered and I don't have a good patience and perspective, I'm probably not going to build the right culture that I want where people feel safe and they feel seen and they feel known and they feel needed. If I want all those things, I got to just build a culture that puts a premium on people.
It's great.
If we don't do that, we'll put it on products or the bottom line, and the burn rate is just so aggressive.
Yeah. If you find yourself and you're finding it difficult to respond right or interact right, or you've caught yourself, you've been like, man, I don't think I handled that well, and it's kind of in maybe a string. What is that a telltale sign for you? What red flag goes up for you?
I think the first red flag is, what is the whole thing? We talked about this last couple of episodes. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. It's usually something's driving that. I'm stressed about something else over here, and I'm taking it out on someone over here.
That's good.
I found even as a parent to go back to my kids and say, hey, I just want to let you know, I didn't handle that very well. I don't like the way that I spoke to you there. I don't think that was really good. Hey, will you forgive Dad? I'm not really proud of that moment. And that's not how in our house, let's not talk the way that Daddy just did. And and I find my kids, when I speak to them with that maturity, they're like, yeah, Dad, let me pray for you. I'm kidding. They don't say pray.
Like they're like, I actually have a word for you.
Yeah. Milk.
Yeah.
Does this make sense?
Yeah, it totally makes sense. I think too, there's like a weird disconnect between, I love what you said. Culture isn't what's on the wall.
No.
And I think organizations that try to lead by that, but the actual culture is different than what's on the wall.
Yes.
Creates such a distrust and discredit.
Yes.
Towards the relationships that are in the room.
Yes.
Like, that's what creates the divide between employee and employer. Or I think culture. I don't know. This would be a question for you. Is culture describe the description of a place or the prescription for the place? Because I think a lot of us will go like, our culture is, then we shout out ideals.
Wow.
That isn't who we are.
Yeah.
Or is the culture like, this is a down to earth, this is, it took us 5 years to give us a mission statement?
Yeah,
because,
5 years. Because we want to figure it out. We want to know who we are. I don't appreciate saying that our culture is things that we actually don't do at all.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to be able to stand on it and go, actually, we're really good at this. Mm-hmm. We actually do walk in this.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's important to even identify in all of us the gap between who I say I am and who I really am.
Yeah.
and going like, I really want to be this. I really want to be there. I'm on a journey to get there, and that's fine. So in our culture, we're trying to get better at XYZ. I think people give you the margin to get there if you can identify that
and communicate it.
and communicate
Yeah.
it. Go like, man, this is something that's missing in our culture. This is something I'd like to add. This is something we're focused on, and our energy is going to flow here. And I can recognize we're missing it. And so let's act, interact, and respond in this ideal.
That was this Sunday. We do every Sunday before service we do a pre-service rally, a pre-service prayer. And at the end of it, you said, or our MCs got up and said, "Hey, we're gonna add something to our culture."
Yeah, we're going to add something.
And before service, we literally practiced this thing
Yeah.
that we're gonna start adding to our culture.
That's right.
And everyone was down for it
Yeah.
because
That's great.
it was communicated, it was practiced,
Yeah.
and there was an expectation.
Yeah. I think what we're talking about today is a really big, this is all of leadership, right? To me, leadership is first learning how to lead me so I get good at leading others. So my value, my first commitment is to me. Arrest this guy, lead this guy. What's wrong? I got to get healthy. I got to get right. So there's a physical reality to that. There's an emotional reality to that. There's a spiritual, in my opinion, reality to that. There's a financial reality. I got to take care of these buckets. But all of this is so that I can put a demand on my health so I can lead people to the best of my ability. Because what is the aim and the goal of my life? The goal of my life, it's like the strength of my life is not what I sit in, it's what I send out. It's what I put into others. It's not what I accomplish, it's what I empower other people to accomplish. That to me is effectiveness. And I think that we've got to define what leadership really is. Leadership is serving others. It's not being served, it's serving. That's why Jesus flipped the whole thing on its head. And he's like, you think that you guys were waiting for a rock star? No, I'm actually coming in on a donkey because I don't need some lights, camera, action. It's about, you guys think that I'm the Messiah? Well, I'm gonna wash your feet. You guys should probably do the same for each other.
Yeah, that's
He
great.
models this serving, taking people. You guys think that Zacchaeus is like the biggest jerk ever? I see gold. You guys are calling him garbage.
Yeah.
You guys wrote him off and canceled him in cancel culture. I think there's something on this guy. I'm gonna build him. I'm
So
going to
good.
build these guys. I'm going to build these. And that's what leadership is. It's if you build them, it will take care of itself. So focus on the right thing. I'm going to get me right, and I'm going to do everything I can. Every fragrance, nuance, quote, maxim, axiom, every promise, everything I got, I'm going to download and give it to you. And I'm actually going to believe. Here's maturity. Maturity's believing. My ceiling, I'm hoping that everybody I raise up will be your floor. And you can stand big on my shoulders. That's a leader.
Yep.
Most leaders are too immature and too weak, too small to do that. Because they go like, I got to get mine, I got to get there, and I got to accomplish, and that selfish ambition, and I got to, conniving and manipulating and networking and did that. It's like, you want to be great? You really want to be great? Let your ceiling be their floor. You really want to great? Build them. And build them in hopes that they'll go further than you. And if you only do that with your own flesh and blood, most people do it with their children, but not other leaders.
Wow.
You'll have a little bit of fruit, but not a lot of bit of fruit.
Wow.
And I think that the power that you have as a leader is not what you accomplish. It's what you give away so that others can accomplish. That to me is if you build it, the rest will take care of itself. Let's go.